What's up viewers, in this video I'm going to show you how to install a Prinsu roof rack, including the crossbars, the mounting, and how to align it straight with your Rav4. First thing we're going to do from inside the cabin is remove these 12mm bolts located here, 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 and here. These are right by the arm handles of each seat. It will be easier if you use something that is longer handle to give you more torque, and one that is shorter so that it is closer to the bolt. You will need a wrench to remove this. There's a clip over here that gets in the way of a socket wrench, at least in my case, to access this bolt. So get yourself a 12mm wrench. We have all 4 bolts removed. The next thing we're going to do is pull on the roof rack rail from the top, and we have to keep in mind that there are clips in here that we need to force it out when we go up on top. Something I'm going to do is actually get some soapy water and clean these channels, because when we install it with silicone, we want to make sure we don't have any dirt in the area. The hardware that comes with the Prinsu roof rack include long bolts, washers, spacers, and plus nuts. You want to take my advice and the advice of others and avoid using these plus nuts. If you use this plus nut, you will need to drill this hole right here in the very back, and that's not the only problem. These plus nuts tend to rotate, so with vibrations as you drive, these will get loose, and then you'll have to retighten everything again, and maybe even drop the headliner as well. So what you want to do is go to your local hardware store and purchase nylon lock nuts. This is 1/4 inch -20 coarse thread. This prevents loosening from vibrations. I purchased stainless steel. You can go with the zinc versions as well, because it's going to be inside of your cabin and not exposed to the elements. But stainless was what was available for me. I also purchased zinc 1/4 inch washers for these lock nuts on the inside. The washers that come with the Prinsu will be used outside. Hopefully these are at least good quality. The spacers, there are 2 different sizes. You can see the tall ones and short ones. The short ones, you will have 2 in the front, 1 in the back. The tall ones will go in the middle, 2 on each side, the driver and the passenger side. There are going to be holes that will not be closed by the Prinsu roof rack. That's the extra holes by these guys over here. So you can go ahead and purchase these plugs from Amazon. I'll leave a link below. Basically, these will go where these were to prevent water from going through. Of course, you'll still want to apply some silicone, and for that I'm going with this JBL, or not JBL, JB Weld. So when it comes to installing on your Rav4, you will have your bolt, a washer, your spacer, then your Rav4 comes over here. You'll have another washer, and then you'll have your lock nut. In between here, where the car is, you will put silicone on top under the spacer, and if you want, from inside above the washer. It's not necessary, but for extra protection you might want to consider it. The first thing you want to do is get all of your spacers and apply silicone to the top of it, and then put that inside this channel here, aligning with the hole of the Rav4. Do that for all 10 spaces on both sides, so 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the passenger side, and then the 5 on the driver's side. Just put them there, let it cure for a while, and then the second thing you'll want to do is get your roof rack with a partner and go from the back of the vehicle above your head and place it on top of the spacer as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, because we still have to align this to be straight with the front of the car, but just get on top of the spacer so it doesn't sit on top of the Rav4. I put towels here just in case. The next thing you'll do is install your hardware for the very far right front and the far right back. I stuck to the passenger side just because I tend to work on that area more first. But you just want to do the front screw and the far back screw. You want to tighten it, but not so tight. You still want to be able to adjust it. This is so that the roof rack can sit in place and be held by those screws while we adjust this, the angle of this. To adjust the angle of this, you want to get yourself a flat, straight object, kind of put it flush against this surface, and see where it aligns over here. And then you want to check it with the other side to make sure that it's equal. If it's not equal, just slide this back and forward until it is. Once you have it set, screw the front screw first, and then do the same thing for the back side. On the back side, I went over here and used these two screws as my guide. I put it like this, and I went down up until it hits a black tape that I put over there. From that black tape, I measure how far it is from this plastic trim. I measured that on this side and back side until they were both equal. And then I screwed that back piece so this thing no longer moves. Because I'm not using the plus nuts that came with the Prinsu roof rack, I'm using nylon lock nuts. I applied a lot of silicone inside of the channel of the spacer, just in case water can get through there. So with silicone inside of there, I also put silicone under this washer. Then I pushed this bolt all the way inside, and I tightened it down from both inside the cabin and from over here to create a watertight seal, both here and inside the channel. So you'll do that for all 5 bolts along the opposite side of where you tightened it. Once you have these set, then you'll go back over there and loosen this and loosen that one to do the same thing we did to this side. So you'll put silicone inside of your spacer, silicone all over. If you want, you could put silicone from the inside of the cabin as well, and just tighten everything down. To mount the spacer onto the roof rack, I use this guy because it's pretty strong and it'll cure relatively quick and have a strong hold so that the spacer doesn't move so much. For the silicone inside of the channel that I put a bunch in to further create a watertight proof seal, I use this advanced silicone by GE. I picked this up at Walmart. You can find it pretty much anywhere. 10 years mold free. Let's see if I can get rid of the glare. 30-minute rain ready, shrink and crack proof, won't blemish metals, lifetime guarantee, whatever that really is. What was really important to me is that it's freeze and sun proof. Freeze because out here in the Midwest it does get really cold, so I don't want this stuff to turn brittle and crack. So hopefully this thing will survive that. It is right now October, so in a couple months we'll have some freezing weather and we'll see how it holds up. I have a scale here, and each crossbar weighs around, let's say, 3.5 pounds. There are 6 black crossbars and 1 silver crossbar behind the wind deflector. So you're looking at around 35 or 25 pounds with just crossbars alone. So if you care about your fuel economy, that might be something to take into consideration. If your Toyota has a sunroof and you care about having unobstructed views, this might be the sort of configuration you will settle with. There is one more crossbar that I didn't install. It would go here. This crossbar here would block a little bit of your view depending on where your seat position is. For me, I don't notice it at all. And then these guys are certainly out of the way. Installing crossbars on the Prinsu roof rack is pretty easy. There are predefined slots that are equally spaced out if you want a more symmetrical look. Otherwise, you have these long slots here to give you a custom spacing between one crossbar and another. Each crossbar has 2 screw holes on each side so that you can mount it with the included hardware. So you'll need your screw, a split washer, and then a flat washer. The screws itself use a T30 bit. It's not a Phillips or anything, it's a T30, so make sure you have one of those. And then it'll if you on the other side, you might want to put a towel so that you don't lay this on the surface of your Rav4, of course. So you can work on one side by hand tightening it, and then on the other side you can go there and drill it in there just to make it go faster, or you can hand screw it depending on what type of tool you have. The Prinsu roof rack also comes with these tie down rings if you want to use it. They're just loops that you can install anywhere along the slits of your crossbar. You would start by inserting it into these openings and then just sliding it down anywhere you want. So make sure your openings are facing up and are not on the bottom, because that's how you will get your accessories mounted to your Prinsu roof rack. One thing that stood out to me is how incomplete it kind of looks like with the Prinsu roof rack. And what I mean by that is this channel opening over here where the previous roof rails were. It is now just an open hole, and it's this is where they did kind of like the spot welding at the factories, Toyota factories, and without covering that, it kind of looks like it's missing something. So I'll be on the lookout for something black to cover over here, similar to what they have in the Tacomas. I know when you install the roof rack on the Tacoma, you're kind of just drilling through the plastic cover that goes up top over here. But for this roof rack on the Rav4s, it's not like that. Make sure you do purchase the weather strip. You can get it by Prinsu, or you can get this on Amazon. It's nothing special, but you must have this, otherwise you will have a lot of wind noise. I tried it without it and it was whistling at 70 miles per hour on the freeway. That's it for the video. I do apologize about not having a very detailed install guide about the mounting. I was trying to beat the forecast with the upcoming rain. But in the future, I will remove this and reinstall it with special hardware that will allow me to remove this anytime I want without dropping the headliner or worrying about leaks. So stay tuned for that. It will probably be next year though.